Hello students, welcome back to new video lecture on oscillations and waves. So today in this video we are going to discuss about forced oscillation. Already we have discussed about free oscillation and damped oscillation in our previous video lecture. In this video lecture we are going to discuss about forced oscillation. Okay, let us see what exactly forced oscillation first. So whatever simple harmonic oscillation you observe in daily life, of course it is damped. So if you want to use a simple harmonic motion for the application, any application purpose, so the simple harmonic motion should be a continuous one. If a damped oscillation means after certain oscillation it comes to rest, so oscillation is not going to continue. So that means external force is required to make system to oscillate. So that's known as a forced oscillation. So forced oscillation can be defined as vibration in which body vibrates with frequency other than its natural frequency. That's very important. Under the action of external periodic force. Under the action of external periodic force. Force is not continuous. It's a periodic force which is acting. Because of external periodic force, the system is under the oscillation. Example, you can strike a tuning fork and pressed on the table, set to vibration and other thing. Heavy any guitar and other thing are said to be forced oscillation. Okay. So if system is under the forced oscillation, so let us try to understand the theory behind the forced oscillation. So when system is under the forced oscillation, the particle in the system experiences mainly three forces. The first one, of course, as usual, that is a restoring force. Restoring force is acting, which is proportional to displacement and oppositely directed. That is, we know. Because in the free oscillation we have seen, in the damped oscillation we have seen, so which is opposite to displacement. So I will write it as F1, which is a restoring force which is proportional to displacement, or I can write F1 is equal to minus Ky, where K is a force constant. These things we know. Negative sign indicates which is opposite direction is opposite. The second force which is acting on this is frictional force. Frictional or frictional or retarding force. Retarding. Whatever we have used in damped oscillation, same thing. That I will call it as F2, which is proportional to velocity but opposite direction to the body of the opposite direction to the motion of the body. So that is F2 is equal to minus gamma dy by dt. Gamma is known as damping constant. The third force, that is external periodic force. So three forces are acting on the system. This is a third force, periodic force, represented by F3 is equal to F0 sin Pt, where F0 is a maximum value of the applied force. In other words, its amplitude, applied force, and P is its angular frequency. Angular frequency is angular frequency of periodic force, external periodic force. Please understand there is a difference. Omega is different from P. This is because of the applied force. It's a frequency of applied force. Simply we can call it as X, frequency of external force. Okay. So total force acting on the system, acting on the particle can be written as F is equal to F1 plus F2 plus F3. So that is nothing but F1 is equal to minus Ky plus F2 is gamma that minus dy by dt plus F naught sin pt. Okay. From Newton's second law, you know all these things. Just quickly let us move. According to Newton's second law, says F is equal to ma, that can be written as m into d square y by dt square. Okay. So therefore, equating to equations, m d square y by dt square is equal to minus ky minus gamma dy by dt plus f naught sin pt. Okay. So next let us see the simplification of this. So let us take rearrange the terms. M d square y by dt square plus gamma into dy by dt plus ky is equal to f naught sin pt. Dividing by m, you will get, so I'll go to the new sheet. Okay, dividing by m, you will get d square y by dt square plus gamma by m dy by dt plus k by m is equal to f naught by m sin t. So this can be written as d square y by dt square plus gamma by m is nothing but 2b that we have seen in the damped oscillation plus k by m is omega square y is equal to f naught, let me call it as small f sin pt. Call this as equation 1. So where gamma by m is 2b, k by m is omega square and f naught by m is nothing but f. So alright, so this is what exactly equation 1 you got. This is a differential equation for motion of the particle, and then particle is under first oscillation. When the steady state is set up, the particle vibrates with frequency of the applied force. The solution for the equation 1 must be of the type y is equal to a into sine pt minus theta. Call this as 2, where a is the amplitude of vibration and theta is the angle by which displacement y lags behind the applied force sin pt, applied force f naught sin pt. So that means it's a phase difference. Simply you can call it as phase difference. So we have to, let us differentiate this and substitute in the equation 1. dy by dt, first derivative, dy by dt is equal to ap cos, sine becomes cos, pt minus theta. So pt, that is p. Okay, theta is a constant, so therefore 0. Second derivative of this, d square y by dt square, okay, that is equal to ap cos becomes sine with the minus sign, pt minus theta, again differential of this, so it is p square. So substituting this value of y dy by dt and d square y by dt square in equation 1, so we will get here afterwards big expressions. So let us substitute and simplify this. So first let me rearrange the sheet. So minus ap square d square y by d ap square sine pt minus theta plus 2b into dy by dt, that is ap cos pt minus theta plus omega square, let me write the next line, omega square y is a sine pt minus theta is equal to f into sine pt. Okay, so this next let us if you see left hand side pt minus theta, pt minus theta, pt minus, right hand side pt. So let me rewrite this as pt minus theta. How I do that? Minus ap square sine pt minus theta plus 2b ap cos pt minus theta plus omega square a sine pt minus theta is equal to f into sine let me pt minus theta plus theta, adding and subtracting, that's all. So on the left hand side what I will do is I will collect sine terms together and cos term. So there are two sine terms, so let me combine that. So what you get is a is a common term in both cases. Okay, then here omega square is there, here minus p square is there, so I will combine them. Omega square minus p square sine pt minus theta plus 2bap cos pt minus theta is equal to, this becomes, so this is equivalent to sine ab plus a plus b, sine a plus b, same formula you can use and expand that, sine pt minus theta cos theta plus f cos pt minus theta sin theta. Call this as tree. Now carefully you see this expression. Left hand side is a sum of, with a coefficient, sin pt minus theta plus cos pt minus theta. This is some coefficient, this is some coefficient. Right hand side is also, if you see carefully, sin pt minus theta, f cos theta is a coefficient of that, plus f sin theta is coefficient cos pt minus theta. On both sides it is sum of sin pt minus theta and cos pt minus theta with a coefficient. When this will hold good? Only when on both sides coefficient of respective term of sin pt minus theta and cos pt minus theta must be equal. So therefore equating, we can write, equating one by one coefficient we can write. What we will do is, so let us rewrite that. Well, first let us go with this coefficient of sine, that is a omega square minus p square. This should be equal to coefficient of sin pt minus theta. Coefficient of sin pt minus theta is f cos theta. This is equation 4. Similarly, equating coefficient of cos pt minus theta, that is 2b ap cos pt minus theta is equal to, here it is coefficient is f sin theta. Okay, call this as phi. So our main aim is, just a few minutes before we wrote equation 2, that two terms were there. One is amplitude. In the solution we wrote amplitude and phase. Our aim is to find out the value of phase and amplitude. So equation, if you see equation 4 and 5, so there are two unknowns. We have to find out two unknowns and we have two equation. So that's what exactly we do. Let us try to find out two unknowns. What we will do is, first we will equation 4, let us square that and add squaring equation 5 also. Squaring and adding equation 4 and 5. Okay, so on squaring 4, equation 4, what do you get? A square omega square minus p square whole square plus, this becomes 4b square a square p square is equal to f square cos square theta plus f square sin square theta. F square is common, cos square theta plus sin square theta is equal to 1. So you are left with f square. So let us simplify that. So from this you can get the value of a. A square is a common term, omega square p square whole square plus 4b square p square is equal to f square. So taking to the other side, a square is equal to f square divided by omega square p square whole square plus 4b square p square. A is equal to, taking the root, f square becomes f root of omega square minus p square whole square plus 4b square p square. So call this as equation number, I think, 6. Yes, this is an expression for amplitude. Now let us try to find out expression for phase. So what we will do is divide equation 5 by equation 4. Let us divide equation 5 with equation 4. Let us see what exactly happens. When you divide, on right hand side, f will get cancelled. So equation 5 is sin theta divided by cos theta, that is nothing but tan theta, is equal to 2b AP, okay, while writing I made a mistake. This is not required. We are equating coefficient, sorry. Okay, so 2b AP divided by a into omega square p square. So theta is nothing but theta is equal to tan inverse of a will get cancelled here. A will get cancelled. So you are left with 2bp divided by omega square minus p square. So okay, this is what exactly. So call this as equation 7. So equation 6 is talking about amplitude. Equation 7 is talking about phase. So equation 6 and 7 gives amplitude of forced vibration. 6 gives forced vibration, whereas equation 7 gives the phase. Now if you carefully see the expression 6 and 7, so the amplitude and phase depends on value of omega square minus p square. Even in the phase also it is omega square minus p square. So omega is related to natural frequency of the system. P is related to external frequency or applied frequency. So this will simply split up into three cases. So let us start see one by one. Case 1, when driving force, that is I am talking about applied force, P, is much smaller than the external natural frequency for oscillation. P is much less than omega. In this case, what happens to amplitude of vibration? So just let us see what exactly happens. Okay, so amplitude of vibration is given by A. Okay, so let us see that. First let us rewrite the amplitude. A is equal to amplitude f square, root f remains as such. So P is less than omega square. So therefore here P is much less than omega square. So therefore omega square is much greater than P square. That is negligible. So that will come, you can neglect P square. You are left with omega to the power 4. Compared to omega to the power 4, P square is negligible. So then root of that you are left with omega square, which is a constant. The amplitude of oscillation is constant when driving force amplitude frequency is much smaller. Now what about theta? Theta, if you see, which is tan inverse of 2 bp divided by omega square minus P square. So 2 bp, please remember all our discussion is for small value of B, because damping force should be always small, then only forced oscillation will continue. So therefore B should be small. So therefore 2 bp, this is a small, P is a small, B is a small, this is a small quantity, then divided by omega square minus P square. Compared to omega square, P square is small, so therefore you are left with omega square. Small number divided by a big number, approximately 0. So therefore tan inverse of 0, that's equal to 0. So there is no phase difference. So their system is oscillating with applied force. They are in phase. Okay, they are in phase. So the amplitude, they vibrate with a fixed amplitude and they are in phase. Let us see case 2. Case 2, when P is equal to omega, and P is equal to omega, applied frequency is equal to natural frequency. In this case, what exactly happened to amplitude? Let us see. A is equal to f by 2 bp. You are left with f by 2 bp. If you see, when is equal to this is 0, so you are left with this. So root of that, so whatever you get this. Okay, if you want further, it can be simplified. F naught by m, gamma by m, 2b is gamma by m, omega. Okay, P and B are equal, so omega. So f naught by gamma omega. This word exactly. So let us see theta. Theta, you are left with tan inverse of 2 bp. So this is 0. This is 0. Anything divided by 0 is tan inverse of infinity. So that is nothing but pi by 2. So that means whenever applied frequency is equal to natural frequency, the amplitude is this much, and they are out of phase behind, lags behind by an amount of, displacement is lags behind by an amount of phase 5 by 2, 90 degree. They are out of phase by 90 degree. Okay. Now let us see the case 3, third case. Case 3. case, P is much greater than omega. Applied frequency is much greater than natural frequency of the body. What happens to the amplitude? What happens to amplitude? What happens to amplitude? Okay, so A is equal to amplitude. So P is much greater than omega. So here P is omega square minus P square. Compared to P square, omega square is negligible. So therefore neglect that. Power, so on squaring negative also goes. So P to the power 4, P to the power 4 plus 4B square P square. This term is negligible. Even though P square is large, but P to the power is much larger, but here multiplied by a smaller quantity. So therefore this quantity is negligible. So therefore you are left with P square. Taking root of that, you are left with P square, F by P square, or approximately. So maybe you can simplify that, F naught by M P square, or that is F naught by M P square. So what about the phase? Theta. So theta is equal to tan inverse of again that is 2bp minus divided by omega square minus P square. So compared to omega square, P square is much greater. So therefore omega square is negligible. You are left with minus P square. So in the numerator 2bp, so 1p will get cancelled. So this will be something like this, tan inverse of 2. So you are left with minus 2b by p. So p is a big number compared to b. So approximately tan inverse of minus 0. So that is equal to 5. Thus in this case amplitude goes on decreasing as applied frequency increases. With applied frequency amplitude decreases. So then there will be a phase difference of pi, 180 phase difference. So when applied frequency is much greater, then there will be a 180 phase difference. That's what exactly happens in the case of when applied frequency is much greater than natural frequency. This is because when applied frequency is greater, the system is want to oscillate with applied frequency. By the time the system is oscillating in the direction of applied frequency, the force will change its direction to opposite. So therefore there will be a 180 phase difference. So this is what exactly about forced oscillation. So now we are left with small two topics. One is resonance and other one is resonator. Okay, so we will see that next we will see that resonance. Okay, next let us see what exactly resonance. The phenomena of making body vibrate with its natural frequency under the influence of another vibrating body with the same frequency is called as resonance. In simple we can say, when applied frequency is equal to natural frequency of the body, then the body will vibrate with the maximum amplitude. The phenomenon is known as resonance. So example, you can take one tuning fork strike and vibrating taken near to another tuning fork, the same natural frequency, and it will undergo a resonance. So because of resonance has a lot of application. So in radio tuning, natural frequency is so adjusted that moving tuning knob for receiver set that equal to frequency of radio waves, then resonance occurs, takes place, incoming sound waves can be listened after amplified. So in simple, what is a condition for resonance? Condition for resonance is the frequency of applied force, frequency of applied force is equal to natural frequency of the oscillator or body. So P is equal to omega. P is equal to omega. What happens? At resonance, amplitude of vibration becomes maximum. So A max is given by F by 2 pp. So B is important, that is a damping factor. So if B is very small, then it has maximum amplitude. For B ideal, that is B is equal to 0, ideal situation, then maximum amplitude becomes infinity. Okay, so what we will do is let us draw a curve. Amplitude or intensity on y-axis, amplitude, okay, and x-axis we will draw the applied frequency. Y-axis, amplitude on y-axis, and applied frequency on x-axis. When B is equal to 0, no damping at all, So let us say somewhere here P is equal to natural frequency. So what exactly happens is, when it reaches over here, its maximum goes to infinity. So this is curve B is equal to 0. But this never happens. There will be small amount of damping always present. Frictional resistance will be there. So when damping is B is small, and small amount of damping force is there, you will have large amplitude, P large. Okay, or simply say low damping. Damping is very small amount of damping. When B is large, high damping, you will have amplitude also decreases. This is high damping. This is how sharpness of the resonance changes with damping. So let us see Helmholtz resonator, the last topic of this oscillations and waves. Helmholtz resonator. Very important topic. It's a application of resonance only. Helmholtz resonator is a rigid container with known volume, nearly spherical shape. There will be one small neck and a hole one end and a large hole at the other end. Simply I will draw something like this. A spherical cylinder, one end there is a narrow small opening, another end there will be a big opening, okay, wide opening, wide, narrow, okay. When this is called as a Helmholtz resonator. So now if you place narrow end of the resonator to one of your ear, and one of your ear, and other end is exposed to a complex sound. This end is exposed to sound, so it will pick out a particular frequency, specific frequency, and it can be heard very clearly. That is application. A fantastic application. This can be used for tuning or calibrate certain musical instrument. A special use of this is all in your automobile silencer. Silencer is same. Okay, let us try to understand what is the frequency of resonator, how exactly it is defined. Frequency of resonator F is given by V divided by 2 pi root of A divided by LV, capital V, L. So the capital V is volume of the resonator, L, small l is the length of the neck, that this length, narrowed length you are talking about. A is a cross-sectional area of the neck again. So that is you're talking about this area. And V is the velocity of the sound. So this is how the frequency of the Helmholtz resonator is defined. Okay, this is how it is defined. So if this is known, volume is known, so then you can have frequency can be modified by modifying the volume, length, cross-sectional area. This is what exactly some people will customize their silencer and make big noise, noise pollution. That is, by changing this they are manipulating that. So Helmholtz resonator best example is silencer. How exactly silencer work? So simply they know what are the frequencies are coming from the engine. They avoid all those frequency, only low noise frequency they will design using Helmholtz resonator. Only that frequency can come out, so only that can be heard. That's what exactly Helmholtz resonator. With this we have completed the topic oscillations and waves. So thank you for watching.